Welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and inside this prototype unboxing, I'm excited to be checking out Nemesis Retaliation from Awaken Realms, a prototype. And inside this video, I'll be taking you through all the components inside the prototype. They're currently all in development and subject to change, but I wanted to show you each and every component inside the box in case they don't end up showing in the Game Found preview series to come. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you'll want to do so in order to see this game in action, which I'm really excited to cover on the channel for you. This is the third iteration of Nemesis. The original Nemesis and Nemesis Lockdown I've covered in multiple playthroughs across the channel over the years, so I'm very, very excited to be checking out the third iteration here right now. Here's a look at every single component that came as part of the prototype. At this point, we're going to take a look at the unique sculpts for the miniatures to start things off, and then we'll go through the rest of the components. And of course, beyond the unique miniatures you just saw, there will be more unique miniatures in the final version of the game. Let's now move to the game tiles, which make up the environments you'll be exploring through. On the back of the tiles, things are broken up by section. We have section A, B, and C, unknown tiles, and of course the starting landing zone, as well as where you depart. Now these next game tiles are used to create the border of the game board itself. With this particular iteration of Nemesis, an emphasis on exploring and combat has been heightened. So in this one, you're going to be building out the actual facility as you go, and these tiles right here are going to build out the L or C structure of the game board, essentially the border of the game board, as you begin to explore through the entire facility. Now I'll show you this all interconnected. It just uses a typical puzzle piece kind of connection point on each of them to build that border out. Now, for those of you that have played the original Nemesis and Nemesis Lockdown, a number of components here in the middle of the table are going to be familiar to you. There are some differences, though, and I'll talk about those in a bit. First off, let's just go through what you're seeing here. So first off, we have the door miniatures. These are an upgrade from the standee doors, which are right here. They do come with bases, and you can use those to attach to keep them upright. We have the Queen's eggs. We also have these markers here used to track ammo. We have the contamination scanner, which uses the contamination cards to check whether or not you are contaminated. A very cool element of the game. We have the noise tokens up here, the player bases, we have fire, malfunction, and those clear markers used to mark a number of different things during gameplay. And then we come to the dice. And as I alluded to earlier, the uptick in the combat side of Nemesis has increased the different types of dice inside the game. We now have noise dice, shot dice, and burst dice. This die is called the burst die. I'll show you all 6 sides for those interested. This is the shot die. I'll show you all 8 sides of this one. And finally, we have the noise die. You'll see that the noise die now matches the color of the noise markers. Here's a look at one of the door miniatures for the game. It certainly adds immersion to the experience and also can be split in half when the door is broken open. Here's a look at the contamination scanner. How this works: simply push the card into the scanner, and on one of the 5 lines, if you see the word infected, well, that's bad news. And we have it there on the 2nd row. Now, something worth mentioning about the Nemesis series is all the components that come inside the base boxes from the campaign or even buying at retail have premium tokens inside. You're going to find these noise markers, fire markers, cogs, and gears. These are going to represent different game effects, but they all are premium. And I mention this because most base games, when they arrive, are typically just cardboard tokens, and you have to pick up the fancier tokens separately. Nemesis includes them inside the box. It's something I've always liked about it. The prototype also includes cardboard tokens, and the final version will have some as well. Let's go over some of these for the game. We have anti-aircraft tokens here. They're double-sided. One has active on the other side. The other has inactive. We have secure tokens here. They're the same on both sides. You'll use these when you go into a room and secure it. You'll place it right on the room itself. Here you have ammo. As you use the ammo in a certain method, which you'll see as we go through it in gameplay, you'll deplete the ammo halfway, and then once you use it again, it will be completely gone. This one right here is an oxygen of +3. Flipping it over, we have a grenade. Now, these similar looking tokens down here, we have the hibernatorium token here, the robot server here, life support tokens, as well as the auto destruction token. And as you use these and they change through gameplay, you're going to be flipping them over as well. They're double-sided. They will turn on and off essentially. And you also have this token here. It is not double-sided. It is the exact same thing on both sides. Here is the lander token, and that's going to do it for all the ones in this pile. We have another pile to go through that I'm sure you'll be familiar with. The intruder tokens, and there are 16 adult intruder tokens, 8 drone tokens, 9 queen tokens, 6 larva tokens, and 1 blank token. And of course, there's also a bag to put them all inside. Moving on to the final components, let's now take a look at the player dashboards, the player characters themselves, and also a reference card. Here's a look at the completely redesigned player dashboards for Nemesis Retaliation. I really like what I see here. On the left-hand side, we've got a tactical belt. You'll place your grenades, extra oxygen, extra ammo in these slots. Left hand, right hand for your mini cards. You've got your player area right here where you place your actual controlled character in a recessed area. You have your actions reference here across the different varying costs, 1 and 2. You have an oxygen dial right here, which is really cool to track your oxygen levels inside the game, which is new for Retaliation. And then up top here, we have a health track, which has been redesigned. And I really like how this is laid out. You basically have your marker up here to start. You'll start taking hits as you go through the game, but as soon as you take a serious wound, you'll place it in the furthest leftmost open slot in a recessed area. And if your marker's on that side, it's going to move and be pushed into the next area. So basically, if you're taking a lot of serious wounds, your marker is going to be moving down this thing real quick. I like that a lot. And of course, you get to the very end, well, it's not good. Here's a look at the character dashboards. You're going to notice on them a number of stars. This is going to indicate rank inside the game. Certain cards will allow you to potentially dole out commands based on your rank, so it'll be an interesting part of the gameplay. And here is a nice handy reference of the breakdown for when you're using the intruder tokens for horde, noise rolls, or bag development. The prototype includes these card trays. They used to be 1 level across, so it would basically be out to about here. Now they're stacked, and it's a little bit more compact, which is quite nice for the mini cards. You'll also see a little bit of scuffs there. Again, this is a prototype. The final version will not have those. We're getting down to the final components, and I want to show you these corridor tiles. There is a number of them per each of the different numbers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are going to connect the rooms together. As I mentioned before, there isn't a static board in this situation anymore. As you go through rooms and you discover different entrances and corridors, you are going to be building out your map as you go. Now, as you'll notice on the back of each of these are all exactly the same because they'll all be mixed together, shuffled together, face down, and when a card comes up that tells you which corridors and in which direction to place them, you're going to place them without knowing what they're going to be. You'll flip them upright, and it could be that you get 2 corridors. And that just means you have a potentially better time with the noise die than you would if it was a 1 and a 2 because, well, your odds of rolling that number are less. So you can get into some really interesting situations where certain rooms will be or tend to be safer than others, but it can also come back to bite you the second that that number is rolled, as everything will fill out around that particular location. So again, a reason why the combat has been heightened in this one. It gives you breaks just as much as it throws everything at you. So as you move throughout the facility, exploring it, you're going to be going from one room to a corridor to another room, and that is how they're all going to be interconnected. And because of this modular make of the map itself, some pathways between rooms may never actually connect. For instance, you may never have a connection piece from the surgery room to the technical corridor entrance if either of those rooms never had an established corridor in the first place. So in other words, you'll have to take the long way around to get there. But some places will have multiple connections and be more accessible. It's going to make the gameplay even more dynamic. It's time to take an up-close look at each and every card that came as part of the prototype. And that, my friends, wraps up the prototype unboxing for Nemesis Retaliation from Awaken Realms, currently going to GameFound in the very near future. If you want to find the specific date and the link to the campaign, I've got it for you in the pinned comment and video description. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As we dive into a GameFound preview series, I'll show you exactly how this game flows and operates in depth. Really looking forward to that. And if you're not part of a Discord server or Facebook group, we'd love to have you in one of those locations, or even better, in both. In the Discord server, we have specific conversations going on about crowdfunding projects. You can jump in there and talk with other solo gamers that are deciding on games that are right for them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.